Hey guys, Bittersteel here, back with another video, and today we have a pretty special one. This one was sent in by a friend of mine, and he is very new to the game, so I am curious to see just how bad he ruined his save game. Well, he writes to me, everything went well up until I took on Chiang. The war against him went on for a bit too long, and I managed to lose 24 units because Field Marshal Frontlines didn't work like I thought it would. After that whole ordeal, Japan kept declaring war on my puppets and instantly suing for peace. I misclicked after like the 8th time and did the war thing. Now Japan is coming at me full on. Please be gentle. Looking at this, for a new player, you've got a pretty nice and juicy Qing China. Assuming you've got puppets, that's actually a pretty good position, but Japan has landed in a few places. That could be tricky. But let's see what the situation's like and hop on in. Alright, first of all, that's a teeny tiny army for 1942. You gotta recruit more troops, man. Other than that, you gotta garrison your ports. Several of your ports are open. Japan loves naval invasion. Oh, I gotta address this first. You're using 14 force, not brilliant, but good enough to get the job done against the AI. However, you have marked them as reserves. Now, reserves is not the same thing as elite. It's quite the opposite. The red inverted chevrons means that equipment will be sent to these divisions last. The regular chevrons indicate that unit is elite and they will receive equipment before anyone else. This is what you want your elite troops to have, not the other way around. That's gonna be bad for your equipment. Other than that, you don't have the equipment to keep these guys. They are 10% trained, so I'll leave that running. You seem to be using quite a few divisions of your puppets, and they're all horribly under strength. The problem here is when you take these divisions from Yunnan or Huangxi, actually Huangxi would be the exception, but from like Xinjiang, Ma, etc., they are full strength. That's great. However, these puppets, they have like 2 factories. So any losses those divisions take has to come from the stockpile of the puppet, not your own stuff. As a result, they cannot keep up with the demand of constant combat, and those divisions end up like this at 24% fighting strength. Not great. So either you lend-lease massive amounts of equipment to those puppets and keep using their troops, or you just don't use their troops and instead build your own divisions, which I would recommend. Finish building these since they're already 10% of the way there, and then probably convert them into Bubingxi, your 20 width template. Although I would add engineers and support artillery, support anti-air to these. I know, it's equipment, it's expensive, you don't really have a huge stockpile, but yeah, it's not terrible. What's your production looking like? Okay, this is acceptable. You are in a pretty good state actually. Yeah, you've got fighters, you've got casts, perfect. You've got everything really. Just a few more factories and artillery. It's expensive though. It's expensive in terms of steel. All right, let's redo our trade. We don't want to trade via sea at all. That's gonna be horrible. Let's trade with people that we have a land connection with, just so we don't have to worry about them sinking our transports. This is horrible. Let's not use those divisions. This is pretty bad supply zone, so I want to pull all those divisions back out. I'm gonna start manually garrisoning your ports because I don't like the way the AI constantly moves troops around when you rely on the standard garrison order. Also convert some of your 14-4s into regular infantry. You use these as garrison troops, and I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get rid of some of your other divisions just because I don't really like having these really low strength divisions. I'll hold on to a few of the ones that have some fighting strength left just until I've got enough of my own divisions ready to deploy. These guys can head to the north. This is a mess. Speaking of the north, so you're using the garrison order, which theoretically works. In practice though, the AI tends to constantly move troops on and off the ports you're trying to guard, so I'll just manually assign fallback lines to each and every port. I much rather do this than losing a port. And again, many of these divisions are extremely under strength. Doesn't matter, we can still fix this. If we can contain these naval invasions, we should still be good. That is the job of this army. Give him a trait. Infantry expert. He's leading my 14-4s. I want him to be good on the offensive. This guy is gonna clean up Southeast Asia as well as he can. These puppet divisions can go, don't need them. Yeah, I'll just leave this guy to aggressively push south to take Saigon and Phnom Penh. Should push the Japanese out of the mainland. If Siam declares on us, I'll probably probably fall back to this river line and the mountains. Alright, research. What have you done? Get better guns, superior firepower. Ah, you've gone dispersed. I don't like dispersed, but it's a little late, I think, to switch. Ideally, you want to go integrated support, since this boosts line artillery, but you're not using that much line artillery. You're using a lot more of the support companies, so this affects your army in a much more positive way. Always go with integrated support. I'm tempted to just switch over now. Yeah, I would lose quite a few bonuses, so I'll just suffer through it unless it turns out to be a real disaster. Other than that, your industry is fine. You're slacking on research. You want to keep computing machines up to date with airplanes. That's nice. Air doctrine. This one gives your close air support some agility, which is very important. All in all, you're doing very well. As for the government, not a lot of good options here. Maybe the elusive gentleman once you build a spy agency, but I don't think you had La Resistance, so I'm not gonna do spy stuff. The army is great. You could even go up to total mobilization. I would, since manpower is not an issue for China, ever. Other than that, Chief of the Air Force is a good addition. Got your army logistics. Yeah, you got everything you're realistically gonna use. Now, focuses, you seem to be doing construction engineering, as you are locked out of all other focuses, but we can still do British cooperation if we get our relations up high enough, and mission to the US. So I'm gonna boost our relations with the US. They only have -25, the UK has -35, so the US is gonna be easier. Renegotiate the unequal treaties eventually. Militarily, we're redeploying troops to secure the garrisons. We are attacking the Japanese aggressively to reduce and contain their beachhead. That's good. It's going to be very, very important to take the ports. If we can reinforce this port here in time, we can clean up this naval invasion relatively easily. And it's just going to be a matter of pushing them out of Southeast China. After that, integrate puppets and probably invade Japan, because I see a free Korea. And that means you've already had the White Peace event happen. To get to Japan, we'll need ships or airplanes. We'll see. Speaking of airplanes, what have you been doing? You have some airplanes. It's better than no airplanes. I don't like your odd numbers. Like, the perfect number is 50 airplanes in a wing, because 50 is the minimum amount of planes needed for the wing to actually sortie. So more wings, even though they're smaller, means more attacks happening, more combat, more experience, more aces. And if your planes are better, you're shooting down more of the enemy. But I prefer to stick to 100 because it's easy for mathematics. So I'm gonna put some fighters up as well as some CAS. CAS is king. Alright, I think that's all the organization I'm gonna do. These units are doing what they're supposed to do. This is gonna be the riskiest of the fronts. This breaks, we have some trouble on our hands. Do we have a navy? Well, we've got no navy, so nothing to worry about there. Construction, yeah, stop building civs in 1942. You're a bit late to the party. Instead, build military factories. So you've already got a decent amount. More can't hurt. I wouldn't build all this stuff in your puppets just yet until you're actually focusing on integrating them, and even then it's easier to just send them a bunch of convoys. Instead, let's start out with some infrastructure. Right, this is still Guangxi territory. Well, I suggest we build a couple of dockyards in some places, just so we can start building a couple of ships to take on the Japanese. The Japanese Navy out of the way, maybe we can get something out to sea. It might even be easier to just paradrop. Still, I'm gonna build a couple of these dockyards. It might not be the best choice, but I kind of wanna. A nice Qing Navy. And anyone defending really is gonna get the ambusher trait from me. It just gives you 5 more entrenchment, which is great, and the recon bonus while entrenched is handy. You kind of want to create the underground workshops. Your stuff is less reliable, but you can create more of it. Plus, you get 3 off-map military factories that the enemy can't bomb or steal. So next time we get 50, I am going to take the underground workshops decision. We'll make terrible guns, but we'll make a lot of them. Anyway, that's the setup done. Let's unpause and see what happens. Now, to be honest, this shouldn't be too difficult. If I can push these naval landings back into the sea, we should be relatively safe. An invitation to the Allies. That might help. It might not. We might get a chance to join the Allies later. I don't want to deal with that. Might be inclined to take Hong Kong at some point. Like I said, overland trade is going to be important, so this is not good for our economy. Alright, Ningbo secured. I'll just put a token force on it for now. I really don't have the luxury of having a lot of troops to spare for that. March towards the ports continues. If I get Hangzhou and Shanghai secured, that is the major incursion dealt with. It's just going to be this place that's a gigantic mess moving forward. Oh yeah, that's another 14 divisions. Japan really is a beast. Still, it looks like the biggest incursion is being dealt with relatively easily. We are getting some stuff. I'm gonna force deploy these as soon as I can, convert them into regular infantry, and assign them to guard my ports. Then I'll be in a good position to slowly build up strength and deal with Japan. I am having second thoughts about the naval dockyards. Might just be better to paradrop, but we'll see. We're moving in on Shanghai. When Shanghai falls, everything they have in this region should be cut off. Oh boy, yeah, they took Qingdao. Let's redeploy those in Hangzhou. Still, once I deal with the Shanghai pocket, I should be able to swing this army north. Meanwhile, to the south, this is going fine. We are losing quite heavily in terms of attrition. That's pretty amazing. The Germans managed to naval invade and take Gibraltar. Area around Shanghai is cleared. That frees up this entire army. Let's deal with this. Don't forget, leave garrisons on your ports. You'll thank me later. Now, do I want submarines? So the naval game? Or do I want air and paradropping? My gut says air. In response, I am also going to terminate the construction of these dockyards. Maybe I'll build a couple of them just so I can, you know, supply my troops. Right, the offensive can start. We'll clean up Qingdao and the rest of Shandong, swing south, once again deal with whatever's near Fuzhou, and we should actually have the mainland secure. Then I can focus on integrating my puppets, maybe fiddle with Tibet, and then just focus on para-dropping Japan. It might be difficult though, we might need to do a bit of island hopping. All in all, it's a bit of a scramble to get started, but once you get going, it's not that hard. It's good that you have these 14-4s available. That gives you something to work with, but I would have focused more on providing a strong, solid infantry core as your backbone, because I definitely would not want to rely on my puppets troops. These are pretty terrible. And even if the division itself isn't terrible, the fact that I can never supply the divisions properly is just the worst. Oh yeah, we're driving the Japanese into the sea. Very, very nice. And Shandong Peninsula is secured. Probably gonna send some of these puppet divisions back home. I'm a little curious to see what Siam does. They're not involved in this, but they could be. But that's gonna make me the aggressor, and gotta keep up appearances for the West. That is all of the mainland secured except for this pocket that we're about to close. Now it's just a matter of building up, researching paratroopers, and start a bit of an island hopping campaign to edge my way closer to the Japanese mainland and destroy them. That's pretty much it for this campaign. This is going to be a short one, which is a compliment for you, No Bueno. You've done really well. We can start our mission to the US. They like us enough. That opens up the rest of this massive focus tree. However, good thing mission to the US and British cooperation are not mutually exclusive, because I think British cooperation yields the best benefits for us. Building up a navy, yeah, it just takes forever. It could be fun though. Oh, what's this? Oh, their opinion of us drop was a waste of time. Just improve relations again, let that take up, and then restart. Time to train up additional infantry. These guys are going to be port guards. That's what I need more than anything, really. I want to create these underground workshops. The national spirit's too good. You need a lot of fighters if I'm going to take on the Japanese. And while we build up, there's going to be more naval invasions. Always more naval invasions. The key here is to guard your ports with the good divisions. I try to use these guys, my regulars, instead of, you know, whatever we took from my puppets. And I keep a reserve force in the rear to swing around to any successful naval invasion or to clean up whatever's left. For that purpose, I've used this general. He can command 30 divisions. He'll get my 14-4s. He's got the good stats. I think he's the best one we have. This guy, who commands the other army of 14-4s, is going to be switched out into a paradropper. Oh, this is annoying. My reputation with the US keeps dropping, so the focus keeps cancelling every time I look away for just a little tiny bit. Okay, one more try. If that doesn't work, I'm just gonna join the allies, because I really can't be bothered with this. Oh, we are occupying some stuff in Southeast Asia now, of course. I'm gonna set things to local police force and gonna use a cavalry template. Cavalry tends to be better for occupation. And of course, make the template as large as you can and ideally assign military police. So the size of the template only matters if you're using military police. Rule of thumb, lots of cavalry and military police, and if you're feeling fancy and have the industry for it, you can use armored cars. Armored cars are even better, but they're incredibly expensive and not really cost effective in that way. Hey, Hey, got naval bombers. Those might actually turn out to be helpful when I do finally face off against Japan. I want to sink some of the Imperial Japanese Navy. My air is consuming a lot of fuel, and I don't really make any myself. So our naval bombing campaign with Cass is gonna have to halt for a bit while I build up some fuel stockpiles. Also gonna research fuel and synthetics. Not entirely comfortable with Siam being here. They could join at any time. So I'm just gonna stack my largest army of 14-4s up against their border. Maybe justify once I've dealt with the US and made them my friends. I still have an army in Beijing in reserve to deal with naval invasions. Let's keep those relations high, boys. You can see that these divisions are really bad at fighting because they have 0 strength. Best add some more units to this mix. Alright, another naval invasion thrown back into the sea. This is fun. We've finished our focus. Annoying thing is we need to keep relations up throughout all of these focuses. Yeah, I'm gonna work on fighter purchases, but then I'll just divert to British cooperation. There's more good stuff down this part of the tree, more fighter focused stuff, and all that of course is assuming the game lasts for that long. Anyway, yeah, I'm really not comfortable with having Siam in Japan's faction but not in a war. They can join at any time. It's not a huge loss, but I would lose a source of rubber down there and give the Japanese a point from which to stage more attacks. Don't want that. The risk of attacking them now is to create more world tension, making the allies like me even less. I'm just gonna do it. Just want to get rid of it. Very tempted to just join the allies and be done with it. I can always leave. I think I'm gonna do that. Use them to help me take out Japan, and after that, well, the options are still open. This just makes it a lot easier to get our focus tree done. But I'm not joining any more of your foolish wars. Not against the Mega German Reich up there. Oh, and of course, AI being the AI, Hong Kong is not garrisoned. Not very clever. This war better kick off soon because this amount of attrition is killing me. It's costing me far more than I am willing to lose. Alright, we can take out Siam, do that quickly, declare war, bada bing, bada boom, send in the 14-4s, clean this up nicely, and just leave the area, because the attrition is horrible. Yeah, they really can't stand a chance here. Meanwhile, keep building up the Paratrooper force. Once those are researched, I'll convert this guy's army into Paratroopers, and we'll see what we can do to take on Japan in the Pacific. Oh, where's my manpower gone? I had 6 million! Someone explain to me where my manpower's gone. What? 0% of eligible core population available. Why? Can someone explain to me why 0% of my core population is available to me in manpower? That does not make sense. That looks like a bug. I think we'll just have to deal with it though. There's no national spirit for it. I was assuming maybe strikes or something, or low war support, but no, none of those, so I have no idea why that is happening. Oh, wait. Total mobilization reduces it by 3%, limited conscription increases it by 2.5%, so technically I am mobilizing no troops because of mobilization laws. Oh, I just spent political power. Yeah, I see the problem now. That's an interesting problem to have, because that's the first time I've ever seen that happen. This puts a damper on things. Fortunately, I do have quite a bit of manpower in reserve. Well, in reserve, I'm not bleeding as much manpower. And with that problem propping up, maybe not take a focus for a bit. Wait, Ireland's capitulated? Oh, Germany. Germany's actually doing very well if they manage to invade Ireland and Gibraltar. Impressive. Alright, there goes Siam. Small problem solved. Quite neatly, if I might add. That's a good slice of occupation for us. Though I am entirely certain that the Allies are gonna find a way to ruin this for us. Oh, that's nice. UK? Kick from the faction. Alright, it's time to, well, mobilize, I suppose. Yeah, now I'm actually mobilizing more men than I'm demobilizing. Still, so strange. See if I can sweet talk the UK into liking me with some non-aggression pacts, etc. Because they really don't like the fact that I declared war on Siam, apparently, despite them being at war with them. Oh, I just noticed that you didn't research motorized, which I guess is not a big deal, but without motorized, you're locked out of these support companies. And while field hospitals are pretty useless, especially for China, logistics companies and signal companies can be great, if not vital. Especially logistics companies if you're fighting in bad terrain. Oh, UK wants to invite us again. Let's see if that works. Hey, we're in the Allies again. Anyway, I'm gonna change my paratrooper template into something I can effectively swing around. I'll just make it a 20 with infantry division. I know. It's really not great for the offensive, but all they have to do is take and hold a port. I do have enough anti-air for the support company, so why not? Alright, that'll do. Got distracted a little and allowed them to take a port. That's bad play on my part. Once these divisions recover a little, I should be able to push the Japanese. And we've been kicked from the faction again. Why are you like this? Alright, at this point it doesn't matter. Okay, so we got 7 paratrooper divisions. Not great, not terrible. I will start taking on the Japanese. I will need more transport planes though. Everywhere this army goes, they run out of supply. Oh god. What if I just stick you on Beijing? Alright, so this is the 3rd time the UK wants to invite us to their faction. So we start our little campaign trying to take stuff from Japan. So far, not that successful. Paradrops are hitting a snag here. Looks like their territory is defended. I can always throw more air up. Alright, we took a port. Good. Alright, next islands. Do me proud here. Glider planes and go. Perfect. Okinawa taken. The fire rises. We will seize control. Your real strength here is your air force. From here we can drop the southern tip of Japan, so we'll try and take Nagasaki and then immediately rush our big boys, our 14-4s across. I only have the range to take Nagasaki itself, so it will be a combat drop in the worst circumstances. If we fail the combat drop, these units are gone. If we succeed, however, we'll have a port from which to expand, ship our 14-4s in, and we drive hard for the Japanese heartland. It's gonna be exciting, that's for sure. I'm afraid that we may not be able to get enough air cover going, so I need to build up a couple of air bases on Okinawa itself just to sustain more of my CAS. I think CAS is gonna be vital. The hard part's not only gonna be seizing control of the East China Sea airspace, but also the home islands. We'll have to be quick about it. So yeah, I think my paratroopers bugged out. I'm gonna restart the game, see if that fixes it. Still, I like playing these Qing games. It's one of the more exciting playthroughs, I think, in the game. And I'm very happy with the way we were able to beat the Japanese away from the mainland and just seize total control. We are the big dog now, Japan. It's us, not you. You know, this will be a lot easier if I had control of Korea, but no. I could justify them, wouldn't take too long, but I'm afraid that's going to push them, since they're democratic, that's going to push them into the Allies. I'd end up at war with the Allies. Do not want that. Instead, I will just try a different approach. Dropping Nagasaki doesn't seem to be working, I assume, because I'm not actually getting air superiority in the region, so I'm going to try again and hit the south of Kyushu. That doesn't work. Well, I'm a bit out of ideas. I'll have to start mass producing airplanes, I guess, and naval bombing the straits and make some submarines to try and get across. It's getting confusing and annoying, I'll tell you that much. I assume I could get air superiority over the home islands if I were using heavy fighters. Heavy fighters would reach to that far, but it's too late to switch over. I could go full upgrade on the range on my fighters. That would help as well. I will see what happens. Well, naval bombers are effective if nothing else. There goes Shokaku. Alright, let's try that again. I'm gonna try paradrops on the lower portion of the island. Hopefully that draws the garrison out of Nagasaki, and then I'll try a paradrop on Nagasaki. If that doesn't work, I'll try to push up as far as I can and try to build a port behind me in Kagoshima. We'll see. It's gonna be tight and exciting. And if it fails, I can always build more paratroopers. It looks like this is completely bugged. I can't do anything with these paratroopers. I have air superiority in the East China Sea, but I can't get any over the home islands due to range. Even when Japan has its own fighters withdrawn, I can't actually get there because, you know, you can see the order, it's active. It says it will work, but nothing happens. The paratroopers don't go anywhere. So it's either bugged or I am just unable to get aerial superiority due to range. It would take forever to build up the right amount of fighters. Bit of a loss here. I'm also gonna start eating my puppets, so that's the Huangxi clique integrated. Haha! Qing China grows larger. And we've got a bunch of fresh divisions. That means I don't need to recruit that many. I'll just use whatever garbage Huangxi has bestowed upon me. Ah! An opportunity I can exploit. A faction invite from the United Kingdom. So I'm quickly gonna throw up a justification against Korea and accept the invitation to the Allies. Now, if the UK doesn't kick me within the next 25 days, I'll be able to invade Korea, use Korea as a staging point and aerial assault them from there. Ah, there we go. We can get our hands on Korea scot-free, I can declare. And now I'm just gonna set off these quick aerial assaults on the victory points of Korea so I don't have to walk the entire way. Of course, Korea is gonna join that faction. Doesn't matter. It seems paratroopers are just completely not working. They're doing nothing. Why is that? I've got green air everywhere. I have sufficient transport wings, I would assume. I've got paratroopers. They're all paradrop capable. I don't understand why they're not firing. If I cannot do paradrops because the game's broken, that's not on me. I'm sorry guys, but that's not my fault. That's just the game being buggy. I'm gonna Google a solution. If any of you know a reason why this isn't working, I will be more than happy to know, because this is a run killer at this point. Well, we just conquered Korea via conventional land assault because apparently paradrops are so broken and nobody on the internet really knows why. I hope I can either restart the game and clean it up that way, or maybe hopefully disband the army and try setting it up again. I'm out of ideas. I have no idea why this just isn't working. The good news is though, we've caught a lot of Japanese divisions here. Alright, with this area under our control, I'll just build an airport here. I've built airports all over China at this point. What harm can one more do? Well, with this new airport, I can at least reach the home islands. Once I establish air superiority here, I hope to God that my airplanes will actually launch this time. No guarantee there though. No, it's still bugged, so I've got air superiority, I've got my airplanes, I've got my paratroops, and they're just not dropping. I'm gonna delete the army and try again. Nope, deleted the army, did nothing. What annoys me most about this bug is that it's been popping up since 2016. Everyone complains about it. No one has a solution to it other than try deleting the army, try deleting the units, try restarting the game, try deleting the order. Some of it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's so incredibly inconsistent and annoying. Oh, I'm getting very frustrated because this worked. Paradrops worked earlier on in the campaign and now it's just busted. Some good news though, at least Tibet has decided to become part of China, so we're almost out of focuses to do as well. Not much to do, let's just go with some production maybe. Oh, or suppress my subjects. Always a good idea as China. Literally no downsides to it. Alright, last attempt at paradropping. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna shut the game down, restart my computer, give it one last try, and then I'll have to cheat or something, because I've had it with these bugs. I've absolutely had it. Nope, paradrops still not working, so I'm gonna cut the video here once again. Okay, so restarted my computer, restarted the game, and suddenly the paradrops are going, and they're going quite poorly. We'll see what we can pull out of our hats here. Got full air coverage, we've got firepower going, so let's roll. God, these combat drops really are scary. Alright, so despite that horrible bug, we've managed to secure a port. We've got our paratroopers in. Time to go to work. I'm gonna ship my big boys in as well. Let's do all the damage we can. This should be it though. I don't see him coming back from this. Unless they quickly push my paratroopers back out to sea, I don't think they'll win. Just gonna issue my paradrops some last stand orders so they can hold their positions, and then we can finally put an end to this relatively simple campaign that was pretty much only stunted by absurd bugs. Got absolute air control, my CAS is decimating them. They're not coming back from this. Oh, look at that. All it took was for us to finally launch the paratroopers, and we have destroyed the Japanese within days. I think once we get the Sendai, it's over. Oh, it's over sooner. Alright, Japan has capitulated, so let's take what is rightfully ours and be done with it. Alright, with that done, Qing China is once again the dominant power on the mainland. Emperor Puyi has his legacy restored to him. I can take the mandate once I've integrated my puppets. Japan, the land of the rising sun, is under a firm Chinese boot now. And all it took was for us to overcome a really annoying bug. Now, I know this wasn't an exactly complicated save game. There are more difficult ones in my mailbox. This one's for you, no bueno. You're my friend. I hope this helped you out. You did really good for your first game. I don't think you really needed me to pull this one out of the gutter, so you keep practicing. You'll get there one day, man. Anyway, if you like this video, leave a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload more content. If you yourself have interesting save games, send them in to the email address I have in the description below. The good ones are, I'm particularly looking for some really poor Germany or Soviet Union ones. We've got a lot of other ones waiting, so I'm looking for some Axis games or some USSR Comintern games. Anyway, this has been me, Bitter Steel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.